Hey there everyone, I figured it'd be fun to do another Q&A video with some questions I still hadn't answered. I even found a file I so stupidly lost before, so if you have asked a question a while back that wasn't featured earlier, it might be here now. Since everything put together is quite a lot, I'll have to split the video up in two parts. I'll upload the second part tomorrow. I'm all out of questions after this, so please feel free to come up with new questions, video game related or on other subjects. Whichever you like, post them down below. To help prevent as much doubles as possible, I'll start naming the questions I go over in the description. Alright, let's go. KamratSvenneryd. We all know you have a CDI, but what other consoles do you have besides that? Well, compared to some people, I have a pretty modest collection, especially in the games department. Having said that, it's still a decently big list and I really can't name the complete list by head. It's just a bit too much for me to remember all the different systems and they are all packed away now, which doesn't help. I'll list what I can remember at the moment on the screen. DanieluYoshikoto. What are your top 10 favorite games for the CDI? Since the answer to this question can easily fill an entire video on its own, I think I'll do just that instead. Make a separate video naming my top 10 CDI games sometime soon. It'll be a nice challenge for me picking out the 10 games I like best. Theonad. What console are you thinking of making videos for next, or are you thinking of making videos for a number of different systems? I would like to spread out a bit more to other systems too once I've moved and actually gave everything a decent place, instead of a big pile of boxes like it was in this house. The systems you can see in the new intro are things I'm thinking of for sure. Also, I'd really like to make some videos on the Commodore 64, but I'm not too sure if that's fitting for the main review show. Other consoles I'm thinking about are the Atari 7800, Amstrad GX 4000, 3DO and the Sega CD. But for those my library of games is pretty limited at the moment and I doubt I'll be expanding much anytime soon, unfortunately. Gentlevader. What was the very first video game you ever remember playing? I'm not really sure what game exactly, but I am pretty sure it was on the Philips Video Pack, otherwise known as the Odyssey 2. My guess would be that the first game I ever played on it was Race, which would be on the game cartridge number 1, which housed 3 games. Potet321 asked pretty much the same thing, but he also asked, how young were you when you tried video games for the first time? Again, I'm not entirely sure, and that is probably because I was just that young. Both my parents liked video games, so I guess they were already playing them when I came along, and so I gradually got into them as I became old enough to hold a controller without trying to eat it. Alex123p. What is your favorite game controller? The PlayStation DualShock controller has been my favorite ever since I got my hands on it. I just love it, all the buttons are easily accessible and it has a good size, or at least for me it does. I'm not too picky in general though when it comes to game controllers. I mean, come on, I'm playing with the CDI one for most of the time for you guys. vintagevideogamegeek. Do people ever call you Sebby? If so, do you like it? Regardless of whether or not you like it, can I call you Sebby? You know, this question really made me laugh when I first read it. And you know what's funny? Outside of the internet there's actually only one person in my day-to-day life who calls me Seb. Most people actually call me Sebas or Bas. For some odd reason my parents, my father in particular, have always called me Op or Oppie. No idea why. Anyway, Sebby makes me sound a lot younger I think, so I don't mind at all, man. Go ahead. BlackCrow911. Do you plan on doing an LP of The Apprentice? Well, if people would like it, I'll consider it, sure. It might be fun, but I'm not too sure how I would go about doing that, since, in all honesty, I suck at the game. Sure, the first 2 levels I can do no problem, but after that it starts to get really hard for me, and the ice and flying levels are just torture. The videos would just be me failing over and over again. Would that really be funny? Stupid question, I guess. So anyways, I'm open for it, but don't expect any high skills from me. Collie91V. Do you like Sid Meier games? And if you do, what's your favorite? I can't say I'm much of a fan, but this is mainly because I'm not much of a fan of drawn out strategy games that take some time to complete. I'm rather looking for instant action, so these simulation kind of games aren't really for me. I could just never really get into them, and I haven't spent too much time with any of them. I'm sure they are great games though, just not my cup of tea. Kare Christensen. Hey, what happened to your burn cycle playthrough vids? Well, I'm sorry about that, but apparently YouTube doesn't like gameplay videos all that much, so to avoid trouble I decided to remove all my playthrough videos and just leave the videos with my commentary, as bad as it might be, since those seem to be alright. I do plan to upload them somewhere else and already put the playthrough of the Faces of Evil up on Screw Attack as a test. It's a slow process, but I think I'll put them all up there, together with my newest videos, as a mirror. Infantry Hawk. Are you afraid of swine flu, or do you think it's no threat? Well, the concern wave is kinda lifted now, so it's not as relevant anymore, but to be quite frank, I think it's the biggest bunch of bullcrap we had to deal with in 2009, and that it was a big waste of money in many ways. Not only for the vaccines, but also for those overreactive measurements, like people staying home because their sister happened to maybe carry it. It was quite crazy and stupid in my opinion, so no, I don't see the threat in it at all. And I'm sure I'll catch it at some point, but I'm also sure that my body can handle it just fine. It's really not that much worse than a normal nasty flu. I don't really want to go too deep into this, since it actually kinda pisses me off seeing how easily people are manipulated like this. But to be sure, the pharmaceutical industry, together with the sugar industry for that matter, aren't much better than the good old mafia in my book. Making money out of the misery of others while supposedly helping them, just disgusting. On the bright side, it has never been so easy to get a seat in public transportations. Just cough a couple of times and complain about the damn flu and a circle of empty seats would form around you. See how easily people are manipulated? On to the next hype, but first, some more questions.